For anyone that thought episode 6 was crazy, this episode is just as big. We got some insane reveals, we got a special cameo. I mean, this episode was all over the place, so let's talk about it. We start this episode picking right back up moments after the last episode ending. Here we learn Peacemaker was more than just delusional. He was an idiot because all of the signs were pointing towards this being Earth X. He couldn't see it. There was a literal mural of a certain someone on the wall. And not just that, the man's autobiography was there too. He was blinded by the perfect world that this was. He wasn't really looking at anything else because everything that he wanted in his life in this past, he was getting in this world, so he wasn't really paying attention. So he's not the brightest. They then fight their way out of this situation and escape. We then pick back up with the vigilante from this Earth X, and he basically tells our main vigilante the history of this Earth, how Germany was able to win World War II, and the current situation that they're in, how all this came to be. We pick up with Augie calling Keith, who, mind you, is chasing Leota, obviously, after the ending of last episode. He basically tells him, we don't do this, and tells him to drop it, and he needs to come right away to the house, obviously, because he's got Conmos tied up. Then pick up with Leota, who's still running away from everybody chasing her. He runs into another person's house, jumps in a pool, obviously seems like she's going to get caught, but is saved by the bell because Judo Master is right there. Judo Master electrocutes everybody in the pool, and he gets his confirmed kills in this world. Leota and Judo Master then go to an abandoned house. They have a bunch of dialogue together. We get to see a side of Judo Master we never got to see. Like, this really does add to his character that we never really did see in season 1. Talk a lot about how this Earth is, the history of it, because Judo Master was reading a lot about it, so he informs her of it. And, yeah. We pick up with Keith and Augie having a conversation. Augie is basically laying it to him that the Peacemaker that we are currently talking to is not the one that we grew up with. He makes it known that obviously since Hardcore and Peacemaker from our world are currently on the run, these two need to go grab them before anything happens to them because they'll finally get answer that they want. And again, while this scene is happening, Augie is giving off some vibes that, whatever Keith was doing earlier was wrong and he needs to relax a little bit. Like, we need to go figure this out before we do any sort of action. Kind of teasing a face turn from Augie. So obviously Augie and Keith catch up to Chris and Hardcore. They actually killed the officers that were chasing Chris and Hardcore at this moment in time. And yeah, they bring them back home. And while this is happening, Keith is pissed, right? Keith is obviously fuming, knowing that his brother that he actually grew up with is dead. Augie's keeping an open mind, which again is weird for his character, but we're going to continue with this. We pick up with Rick Flag Sr. and Sasha Bordeaux going to meet someone that Lex said will be able to help them utilize the QUC and be able to figure out where the location of the QUC is. And it turns out we actually got a Superman cameo. This is Sidney Happerson. He was one of the guys working with Lex Luthor in the Superman movie. He was able to basically create the whole dimensional rift stuff. Rick Flag basically tells him, you got to find the location of the QUC right now. And he does just that because they figure out that the doorway has currently been opened at Vigilante's home. So now Argus is currently headed to Vigilante's house. Augie asks Chris what is happening. Keith, mind you, is still fuming. He is pissed, right? So he is upset knowing that his brother got killed by this doppelganger. Like, he doesn't even know who this guy is. Chris explains to Augie exactly the layout of events that occurred, which eventually led to this Keith's brother, Chris, dying. And in a sudden turn of event, the most shocking reveal, arguably even more shocking than the Earth X reveal, Augie is not one of the people that we thought him to be. He's the complete opposite. Hardcore labels him as a certain group member, and he hits her back like, don't ever call me that again. Augie lets it be known he is one of the good guys in a sense. He doesn't agree with how the other people on Earth X deal with certain things and how they are treating certain people. He said himself that he wasn't the one that caused the issues, and he doesn't agree with the way it's handled. Who would have thought that Augie Smith from this universe was actually a good guy? But I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, if you do look back with everything that we've seen from our main DC timeline and then now this Earth, our main DC timeline, this was a white supremacist. This was a guy that absolutely hated, groups of people. He absolutely hated Chris. Like, it's a complete opposite of this character. Like, this guy actually shows some compassion. He shows love. I mean, again, it's like the polar opposite of what we originally thought. We then get a special cameo appearance from Larry Fitzgibbon, who's portrayed by Lachlan Monroe. Those of you that don't remember, he was originally in season 1 of Peacemaker. He's a detective on this world, but he's missing his partner in crime. And of course, his partner is Sophie. We did also see her in season 1, and kind of obvious why they're not partners, which is unfortunate. Vigilante then meets up with Judo Master and Leota, and they're basically right outside the mansion where everybody is, and they're trying to figure out a way to sneak in. Of course, they figure out a way to get in. Of course, Vigilante breaks into the window, but this is happening while Augie is giving a beautiful dialogue of him talking about how he is as a person. And right as he's, getting some sort of character redemption arc, Vigilante stabs the man to death. But it's not his fault. He wasn't aware. He just assumed, obviously, everybody on this world is a part of that group. And of course, in a fit of rage, Keith absolutely goes berserk and goes after Chris. Meanwhile, Detective Fitzgibbon and the entire police basically come in. We have a crazy brawl between Team Peacemaker, the other vigilante, and obviously with Keith. And from here is one of the most incredible scenes I've ever witnessed an actor produce. I mean, John Cena shows his range throughout this entire scene. He watches as his friends pull Keith away, and, Keith is on the verge of death himself, right? Team Peacemaker is obviously trying to stop him. But Chris in this moment realizes He messed up big time. Everything that he does, in a sense, makes things worse. Everything he touches, he kills. They eventually leave this earth, and Keith is right about to get killed off by Hardcore, but is stopped by the remaining members of the police force that were in the house. Keith, who is still alive, is 100% going to be coming back for them, and you can just tell he is vented up with rage, with anger. All he saw was red. Obviously, as they are leaving the Earth X, they come back to our main world. Chris also closes the portal, and of course, Argus, who are already on their way there. Chris hands the portal opener to Rick Flag Sr., and he gets arrested. And that is where we end off on this episode. I mean, this was insane. Honestly, at this point, anything can happen in this finale, and it's going to be crazy. I cannot wait to see next week's episode. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this overall episode, and how are you guys feeling? What did you guys think about it? Let me know.